Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. I hope that everyone is doing very well and is good. In this video, I really wanted to try and do a full gouache practice thing. I really wanted to try to experiment more with it, and I came across some photos on Pinterest that I really liked and that really drew my eye. And I decided that I really wanted to try to do them, and I really wanted to do gouache with all of them because they all had very vibrant colors that really stood out, and I really wanted to try to experiment with them in doing that. And this first one that I'm actually doing is a background, which freaking shocking, by the way. Oh my god, I'm actually doing a background. Already, I'm just getting so out of my comfort zone. It's amazing. I'm doing a gouache, and wow, it's great. Okay, so, it's like unheard of for me though. And this is actually one that I have tried to do in the past before. I think a couple times. I think I've like sketched this out, and then I've also done it. I think I tried doing it with gouache before in the past too. It wasn't good, but I remember doing it. And this time I wanted to try doing it again. And my headspace like going into this was because again, I am not good at gouache. Okay, I'm not good at it. I'm still very new to it. I haven't been practicing enough, and I really want to get better at it. So my headspace going into this was I wasn't putting a whole bunch of pressure on myself, but also I wanted to try to be more, I don't know, I want to try to be more loose with it, I guess. That was my thing. Like I didn't want to go in trying to be extremely meticulous with like every single little thing, because then I would, one, this would have taken me hours, and two, because I knew if I went in that way, I don't think it would have ended up good, because I'm trying to think like big picture. So I tried to go in with like a lot more bigger blocks of color, and I also made the color palette, I limited the color palette a lot too, to only a couple of colors, and I blended them together with one another so that it looked more cohesive, which is a trick I've kind of learned through with watercolor. And I think that's another thing that helped with this, because I think if I tried to put a whole bunch of colors down all over the place, it wouldn't have looked cohesive enough, and I think it would have looked just like a rainbow was thrown up all over the page, and I don't think it would have looked as good. But this first one that I did, honestly, even though it was a background and it was something that I'm usually more uncomfortable with doing, I think it was actually the easiest one for me to do, surprisingly. I think I also might have to do because I decided to use a more, like, this is just a straightforward, there's not a lot of perspective going on or anything like that, so that made it a little bit easier. But I was still like very nervous, I guess, going into it. I really tried to, because again, I think I've said this before, but I get very impatient very fast, and I also, if I don't start seeing results that I'm happy with, I start to kind of panic and I want to give up. But I force myself to kind of just sit down and trust myself and keep going. And that was something I definitely learned throughout this and making it. One of the things that I really like with this specific one was I tried to like show what it looks like is like whenever the sun like peeks through trees and stuff, and you can see it on the side of the building that I'm drawing, and also on like that little stoop and stuff. And that was a really fun like challenge to try to do. I don't know if it really comes across in the final. I tried to do it the best I could, but I don't know. But it was still really fun to do, and I'm really happy with that aspect of it. Trying, and then whenever it comes to like doing stuff like plants and stuff, I kind of always just do the same technique, because I don't know an easier way to do it, but I tend to kind of just do a lot of like stippling with the leaves and stuff, because I'm not going to sit there and draw out every single leaf, because I would have actually been here then for literally days. So I decided to do a more stippling effect, and I've learned more and more over time with gouache that layering is very important when it comes to gouache. So I tried to put like a mid-toe down first, especially with these leaves, you can really see it, and then I ended up layering over it with a darker shade, and then the very lastly I did lighter shades as I went along, and I think that really actually built up the leaves, and it makes it look like there's more than they actually ended up putting down. So I think that ended up being very helpful, and I'm happy I decided to do that. And I know I mentioned this before, but again with the color palette, the photo that I was referencing has a lot of very warm colors, and it looks very warm, the setting. It looks like it could be a place in like Mexico or like California or something. It looks like a very warm place. And so I tried to convey that too, especially with the yellows. That was one of the things that really made that specific picture drawn to me, because I noticed how the yellow in that photo was so vibrant and opaque. And then also the door that you see too, that I haven't colored in yet, it's like a bright like robin's egg blue, and that's another thing that really stood out to me. So I really wanted to try to make sure that those really stood out. And that's why I did decide to use gouache on it, because I think gouache is one of those mediums where the color is just so solid, and it literally looks, it's just like it comes out like so smoothly too. And I think that's the thing that really drew me into wanting this to be a gouache piece instead of any other sort of medium. So yeah, I think I am happy though with the final result. I think obviously it could be better. And I would like to try this again in the future once I have had even more practice with gouache, to see how much I've improved. But overall, I think I'm happy with it. I will say the one thing, I think the thing I'm least happy with in this is probably the tree. I kind of gave up on it, and I didn't put as much effort as I think I could have in it. And so that would be the one thing I would probably change on this one. But overall, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I think the thing I learned actually most from this is just the fact that I really this makes me want to even more try to do more backgrounds, because I did actually have a lot of fun with this one, especially with, again, like the plants and stuff. I've always really liked plants and painting them, but this makes me want to do more outdoor stuff. But also, see, if I were to do more backgrounds, the things that really can draw my eye are like very like outdoors, nature type stuff, but also very like cluttered spaces. I'm also very intrigued with, and I really want to try to do more of. Like, I love like those, you'll see like photos and stuff of like offices or bedrooms that are extremely cluttered, and there's like a whole bunch of stuff in there, and there's a lot of like detail in that. And I'd really like to try to get better at doing things like that. And then also doing my own, so that it could be a good practice for me to try to come up with a whole bunch of different miscellaneous objects, and then figuring out a way to draw them in ways that you wouldn't normally see them, or in a cluttered way. I think that'd be a fun challenge for me to try to do, and I think it could be very good practice in the future. Okay, so this one, this one was the most difficult one for me to do out of the three I did. And I went into this one because, okay, so this was the second attempt I did of it, because I was trying to do it again originally. And I think it was, oh yeah, it was like in my sketchbook actually. Like, I didn't have a different piece of paper. I like actually was doing it in my sketchbook, and I had the sketch down. And I'm still really sad though, because I really liked the sketch that I ended up doing a lot. But I decided last minute that, well, no, actually, no. What happened was I started trying to do the gouache, and it was a mess. So then I retried it, and I decided to go a different route. And so I then redrew this one, and I still was actually, I'm still happy with the sketch though. I think it ended up turning out good, even though I lost it and then I got scared. But I still ended up doing this one, and this one was very hard. I knew this one was going to be difficult because, again, faces are completely different, and there's a lot more shading that you have to think about in surfaces, and it scares me, and then I start to freak out, and then I want to give up. So I had to, definitely this one especially, I really had to push myself, because I really did not want to give up. I don't think it's always bad to give up on like a piece of art if it's annoying you or frustrating you. I think it's okay, but I really wanted to just try to at least push through this one and see if I could figure it out and like problem solve my way around it. And I really tried just blocking in colors over and over again, and it definitely took me a while before I started seeing something that was resembling a face. Because for me with gouache, when it comes to portraits, the hardest part is always the face, or just the skin in general. I don't know why. I just have a very hard time getting the colors I want and figuring out where to place them on the face, even though it's weird too though, because I literally draw faces more than anything else, and I color faces more than anything else. I don't know why it's the most difficult thing for me, but it is. And so I was really, really struggling, but and you'll see like it looks rough for a while, but that was like the main thing I learned from this experience in this video is, and my biggest piece of advice is just trying to, especially when it comes to painting, but even other medium too. I just think painting in general is usually, it's harder because with painting it's very much a process and it usually will look ugly before it looks good. And that's, you learn that the hard way, I think, over time. I definitely have. And so in this one, and it's very hard mentally whenever you're looking at something and it looks awful. Like how this looks right now looks awful. And it's very hard for you to like be like, oh, this has the potential to turn into something, because it's hard to trust yourself. And it's not always going to. Like this one that I ended up doing here, I don't think it ended up perfect or anything. Like I still have so much to learn. But it's definitely a good way, I think, to challenge yourself and trust yourself over time. But there were definitely multiple times while I was coloring this one that I was like, I had to get up and I had to like pace around my room angrily frustrated because I could not. I was like having a very hard time with the skin, and it wasn't turning out. But I think over time I started to figure, I was learning though how gouache works and the way that you have to layer stuff, and I want to just continue trying to practice. I really want to try to, I have a sketchbook that has like pretty nice thick paper that I think I could use gouache in, and I kind of want to just literally only do gouache like portraits in it, or maybe I'll do some backgrounds too. I should probably do backgrounds too, but mainly portraits. I kind of want to just fill the entire thing up with just gouache portraits and just small little ones, and not putting, I kind of want to like time myself so I don't put too much time into each one of them. But I think if I do that, I'll eventually start to understand how to work with the gouache, that I'm not fighting it all the time, because that's what I'm currently doing constantly with it. And I feel like once I get that, then so yeah, I think I want to try to do that. And I might, I don't know, in the future, if I do, I'll probably start posting stuff about that too. Maybe I'll make it like kind of like a journal type thing too, and I could write my experience in it. That could be a good idea. I might do that in the future. But yeah, once I got the face, which again, the face isn't fully done obviously, but I don't know, I got to the point where I was happy enough with it where sometimes I kind of like it whenever my art isn't fully like rendered, I guess is the right word, and not fully 100% perfectly blended in. It's kind of become part of my style recently, and I kind of like the way that looks. I kind of like the more blocky color variants and stuff, so I got to the point where I was at least happy with it. And like the hair and stuff after that ended up being a lot simpler than I originally planned on making it be, because again, I didn't want to over shade it and stuff and then I'm not happy with it. So yeah, this one though was definitely the hardest, but I definitely learned a lot, I think, from this one especially, and I think I am happy with it in the end, especially the way I shaded the cheekbone. I'm really happy with, because it really looks, because in the photo, the woman in the photo had a very, very like pronounced cheekbone, and I'm really happy with the way that it turned out in this one, because I think you can really see it. I also had a lot of fun with the eye, and I was also very scared with the eye because I decided to just go straight in with it and I didn't like outline it or anything. And I actually ended up which is something I don't usually do, but I ended up outlining this one in black with just the paint instead of using like a marker or a pen. And I'm actually really happy with how the line variation turned out. And it kind of gives it a graphic novel vibe, which gouache gives me like graphic novel vibes for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's just, again, with the way that the paint lays down on the paper, it looks very, very solid. I don't know how to talk. It's like solid blocks of color, and it reminds me of like a graphic novel, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, that was fun. And then once I added the red in too, I think the red really pops in this one. Yeah, I think overall, I'm actually really happy with this one. It's probably my favorite one, actually. It was the hardest to do, and it made me want to rip my hair out, but I learned a lot, and it was fun. So I'll take it. I'll take it. It could be better too, but it's whatever. It's fine. Something I also wanted to try to say too is I recently got Prismacolor pencils recently. Um, and if you don't know what those are, they're like pencils that you can use to sketch with. And they're kind of like colored pencils, but they're meant for sketching more. And you can they don't. I mean, they kind of erase, but not really. Which I'm just letting everyone know they're not like erasable pencils. They can kind of, but again, not really. Because I've gotten kind of sick of using graphite. Because it just freaking it freaking smears really really badly, and it drives me crazy, especially when it comes with paintings and stuff. So I decided to use them on these sketch. I decided to sketch with them on these three, and I'm really really happy I did, and I'm definitely gonna be using those more because I didn't have to worry about graphite, and it completely disappears under the paint. So it was awesome. I would really recommend those actually. If graphite annoys you, I'd recommend them because they're great, and I had a lot of fun coloring with them, and I guess not coloring, sketching with them. It was fun. Yeah, no, but this last one also was another one that this was another photo that I've had saved of mine that I've really been wanting to color and try out myself because I really like the shades in it. And again, I think after that first one, this one came to me a lot easier. I don't think I put enough color down though because it kind of looks streaky. I think at the base I should have, I think I put too much water on it and it looks more watercolor than gouache, so I wish I would have changed that if I could. But yeah, no, this was another one that, again, I think this one took me a lot less time, and I think it was because of that first one where I learned the most. So this one, it made it a lot easier for this one. And with this one too, I was even more kind of nonchalant about with blocking in colors, and I made it even more like big blocks of colors, and like you can clearly see the lighter stuff down. And adding in the black in the dark hair on this one was really really satisfying. And it also made me realize I don't draw a lot of like bobs in shorter hair. I don't think that often. Same with bangs, and it makes me want to more. I tend to draw very long like wavy hair. That's kind of like my go-to, or curlier hair, but I actually really had a fun time drawing this, and it makes me want to do it more. And also just, I say this like every single video, but my favorite thing is to add in those little flyaways in the hair, and it brought me a lot of joy, especially on the bangs. It was very, very fun and satisfying. It was also scary though, because I kind of stopped, kind of was just winging it with the bangs, so I'm glad that it turned out fine in the end. But yeah, that one was really fun. Another reason why, this one also gave me, I know I keep saying this, but it gave me like graphic novel because the colors in the photo of this one were extremely vibrant, and they really like stood out, and they're very very clear big blocks of color, and I had a lot of fun with that. And I'm realizing right now, I feel like this, maybe it's not off, it looks like the one side of the bob was a lot bigger than the other side, but I don't think it is actually. I don't know. Something I always have a hard time with is like drawing the very bottom of the hair. It always looks weird because I never know if I'm supposed to like leave it in like big blocks or just like like do hairs like by themselves. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I don't know if what I'm saying even makes sense, but that was hard. And I think why it gives off the comic book vibe is actually the line art. Now that I'm looking at it, I see why. It looks very graphic novel, the line art. And the eyes, I was so happy with how the eyes turned out too, actually, because I was going in with my paintbrush, which is scary to do because it's harder to get cleaner lines, but it was very fun actually. And I'm really happy with the eyes. They remind me of a cat's eyes, and that was very fun to do. And I decided to just make her eyes pure black. And then like adding in like, this is why I freaking love gouache, because it just goes down so smoothly. Oh, it's so satisfying. I loved this photo because of that was the thing that drew me on. This was her eyeshadow, and the background ends up matching it, and it's really satisfying. I really like doing that. I will never stop drawing pretty people on Pinterest, by the way. Pinterest is like, oh my gosh. There's so many. I just love drawing them. I'll never stop. It's so fun to do too for references, especially with color. I think I've learned so much with color because of the Pinterest references I'll find and the crazy different ways that they use color. And I tend to also edit the photos too so that I can get even more vibrant in crazy stuff so I can reference it even better. But yes, I will always love Pinterest for that. And I was able to get the vibrance down a lot. So I'm really happy with that. But yeah, this gave me this was very like 20s, not 1970s. I don't know why I said 20s vibes. Yeah, but I am overall very happy with this page actually. And I'm also very happy that I continued to push through it even though it was hard and I struggled and I got frustrated, but I'm happy that I did it and I want to continue to do gouache in the future. And I hope everyone enjoyed this video and I hope everyone has an amazing day. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.